everyone, Stephanie Denman from the Denman Homestead, and today I am making pesto. Buddy and I were out in the garden this morning and he said, you know what, why don't you make some pesto with this basil today? So I was like, that is a great idea for lunch. So right now I've got some pasta on the stove. I have some rotini pasta boiling on the stove right now. Just got a few more seconds left, and you can use whatever pasta you prefer. However, I like the rotini pasta because it's spiraled and it kind of holds in all that awesome pesto and then all the little cracks and crevices. And I have some pine nuts that I've just been slightly toasting on the stove. Don't want to burn them, they will burn easy. And I'm just kind of moving them around so they don't burn, but you just want them to basically become aromatic, and you can kind of hear them sizzling, and they smell so good when they're toasted. You do not have to toast pine nuts for this. I'm just going a little extra. And you can just use the raw pine nuts in pesto if you would like. But pesto, basic pesto has very few ingredients. What you're gonna need is pine nuts or walnuts. You can use walnuts too, but I'm using pine nuts, and I just picked up this little pine nut package from the store, and then I toasted them. And Parmesan cheese, some garlic. I'm using some minced garlic, and some extra virgin olive oil. And I've got a very high quality olive oil here that I'll be using. That's all you really need, is that plus your basil. Your basil is going to make it pesto. So pine nuts, Parmesan cheese, garlic, olive oil, and basil. And you're basically going to blend this all up to make pesto. Some extra things that you can add in is I'm going to do a little bit of some lemon juice. I just feel that it gives it like a little bit of a brighter flavor, and then some flaky salt, kosher salt, table salt if you want to add into that. So that's what it's going to be. I'm going to add in extra some salt and some lemon to my basic basil recipe. In my strainer, I have my bunch of basil that we picked earlier, and it's straining off. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to basically pick all these leaves off the stems, because you don't really want the stems in this recipe. And I'm going to put them here, and then once we have them all picked clean, I'm going to put them in my blender. Okay, so I have picked my basil clean. It's been washed. Show you there. You're probably going to want to know measurements. This will probably be about, I don't know, maybe 1.5 cups, 2 cups if I shoved them into a measuring cup of basil. And I'm just going to add my ingredients until I get the consistency that I like. I'm limited on pine nuts. I have this much pine nuts. So that's probably 1/2 cup of pine nuts. And I've got 1/2 lemon. I'm gonna say this is probably 4 cloves of minced garlic. And I'll probably do about 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese. And then I'm going to drizzle as little or as much olive oil until I get the consistency that I want for my pesto. Right now I'm going to add in my basil to my blender. I have a Ninja blender that I use for my food processing stuff. It's pretty cool. So I'm just going to add that in there first. I'm going to add in my pine nuts. And I will add in my garlic. And I'm going to go ahead and process this, blend this down And then I will add in my other ingredients. Scrape down the sides a little bit. Probably about a tablespoon or two of lemon juice. Okay, now I am going to go ahead and start the drizzle of my olive oil. I just kept an eye on it, and I was drizzling it until I could tell that it started to become a more liquid consistency. Right now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to scrape down the sides so that some of these larger pieces get well incorporated. Another thing you can add that I've added before in the past is some red pepper flakes. So that's really good if you want a more, if you want a heat to your basil pesto. I've added my salt to this, and I'm just scraping down the sides. And I'm going to go ahead and pulse this a little bit more and probably add just a touch more olive oil. All right, now I'm going to add in my Parmesan cheese. And let me just see if I can show you the consistency that we're at right now. So that's what it looks like in its liquid state. It's pretty well blended. Okay. And now we're going to add in our Parmesan cheese. If you're a big cheese lover, add in more cheese. I just did 2 kind of handfuls in there, but I normally add in a little bit more cheese on top of my dish after I've done the pesto, so I don't go too heavy in the pesto. Okay, and again, I'll just scrape down one more time, check out the consistency, see if I need to add any more oil since I've added the Parmesan cheese, and it all still looks like it's good. And that's it. So we're going to add this to our fresh pasta, and guys, I wish you could smell it. It is fresh, smells just like basil with a hint of lemon and nuttiness from the pine nuts. So I'm going to put my pasta in some bowls and then scoop on some pesto and stir it all up, and we will top it with some fresh Parmesan cheese, and Buddy and I will be ready to eat lunch.
Smells good.
Mm-hmm. So one other thing I will add is that this freezes really well. So in the summer, springtime, when I make a bunch of pesto, I will put them in ice cubes or ice cube tray and freeze them in the freezer. I actually still have some in the freezer in a little Ziploc baggie, and I just pop them out and I put them in a dish frozen, and it just melts down in the pasta dish, and I can have fresh pesto even during the winter months. So yeah, it stores really well, and it's just a great addition to keep in your freezer. And I'm just going to top these with a little bit of fresh Parmesan. Sometimes I add a little heavy whipping cream to make like a creamed pesto. So you can really just dress it up however you like. Let me show you. There it is. All finished for lunch. Ready to eat?
I'm hungry.
I know, me too. Thank you for joining me today on my homemade pesto. It's super simple, very fresh. What do you think?
So good.
So good. So we're gonna go sit down and eat. We will see you on the next one. Bye, guys.
Bye.